right, history is about to repeat for the crypto market. We're seeing yet another pump within the Bitcoin and crypto space. And the question remains, do you trust this pump? Actually, let me know in the poll section below. Go through to the comments, vote over there. Do you trust the current pump occurring within the crypto markets? It was off of CPI, of course, yesterday, as I'm sure many of you do already know. But the question is, are we going to get sustained price action running through those key overhead resistance levels, which we're very, very close to, right around that $100,000 mark. We said the expectation would be, at least in the very short term, that you might put in a little bit of a pullback, right? Keyword, you might. It all depends on the momentum. It depends on the volume profile as well. We spoke a lot about the volume and whether the move would be backed by that volume, of course. So let's get straight into the show content. We'll have a look at the stock market as well, since it's going to be one of the predominant drivers to what happens over the course of today. And the stock market is really no different, coming right into key resistance over there in the form of that down sloping trend line. So that is the level to take out. Ultimately, you do want to see a break of structure. That's what you're going to be looking for. You want to see that $6,000 level taken out on the S&P 500 chart, this being the futures one. If you start to break above that, then you've negated that low time frame downtrend in the form of lower lows and lower highs. And this was expected that we would get this move, because remember, we came into, of course, the futures gap over there and we got a little bit of a reaction. It's just a question of, do we get sustained price action through? And then at least one of the wrecking balls out there within the crypto markets, or causing the wreckage within crypto and the stock market, was the DXY, which is theoretically on the daily time frame still in a pretty powerful uptrend, right? It's caught right over here at the golden pocket, that being the 0.618 to 65 level. Typically, you look for a little bit of a stop and reversal from that exact place, which you're getting a reaction. But is it enough, right? Well, we can only say with confidence that the DXY is reversing back towards the downside if it does break below these key candle lows over here, that being 107.42, right? 107.742. If we do get below that level and we can hold below that, you can say, yes, this is in fact a confirmed local top. And then you can start to look for the lower high structure. And this should bode really well for the crypto markets. And at which point I would expect that the S&P 500 likely blasts through the $6,000 mark over there. And then maybe, just maybe, that was the major low, because overall, this is still a high time frame uptrending chart, right? The S&P 500 futures has mostly just been trending towards the upside with a couple of corrections in between, right? So a lot to be looking at. We want to focus as well on what the Fed's doing. Given the CPI data, the most important thing coming up, I would say, is the FOMC results, which, or at least their decision around the FOMC, and more specifically their statement as to whether they are going to start buying back assets, right? So that's something that we're looking at as well. The rest of the stock markets as well, strong reaction on the Dow Jones over there. Also strong reaction on the, at least the NASDAQ, but the NASDAQ still needs to do the same thing and break that lower high structure, which means we need to see candles above $526. You're also getting the same thing, a little bit of a reaction over here on Coinbase. So if you do want a blue chip that you can bet on the overall crypto space without actually trying to pick at least the needle in a haystack with in amongst millions of different crypto coins, then this is kind of your pick and shovels approach, right? So big cup and handle formation, back testing into the neckline over there. That's a perfect opportunity for anyone that does want that kind of a trade. You know, you do have, of course, a futures gap that's slightly below if you can't break the previous lower high, which means Coinbase must get above 288. If it gets above 288, you can say high probability that that is the major bottom. And I think that was a good opportunity to get some Coinbase, right? But again, going back to the Federal Reserve's total assets, we can see at least the behemoth downtrend, the aggressive downtrend over here is starting to slow down, right? So we've seen a little bit of an uptick, right? We had over there 6.852, and we're currently situated on 6.854. So at least 0.002 additional added into the Federal Reserve's total assets. Does that mean that that pivot is coming, right? When we say the pivot, we mean the pivot from, of course, selling assets into rather buying assets. Usually this kicks off that final phase, right? As the title suggests, crypto history is about to repeat. if they do bring that statement coming up very, very soon towards the end of the month, that will be very, very telling, where we should see the altcoin sector start to rally. So a little bit of hopium, right? A glimmer of hope that you have over there. But that's what we look for. If we want the early lead, if we want the early warning signals, we have to look for those small little nuanced glimmers of hope, just like this. And could it be, right? Well, we did see a little bit of an uptick previously as well, of course, between the 4th and the 11th of December, and then it did continue to come down. So we need a bit more than that, but nevertheless, I'll feed you your little bit of hopium over there. We're also looking at the USDT dominance, which we're still waiting for on the daily time frame, at least a breakdown, acceptance to be gained below 3.75. If we do get this, this is where we start to get those big moves, and it's all one big trade, right? That's the important thing to remember. It's all one big trade, right? SPX needs to reclaim that level, DXY needs to break down this level, and then we need to see that Fed total asset sheet or their reserves assets increasing towards the upside simultaneously. All one big trade. You probably see this breakdown, and then you see finally the bottom on the ETH BTC chart. Is it the bottom yet? Too soon to tell. Unfortunately, the only way we can tell is when we do eventually break that structure, right? Break of structure at the yellow line, 0.0399. That is the level we need to see price get above. Maybe it happens after the inauguration. Only time will tell. Remember, we've looked at the inaugurations historically and how those have played out, at least for the crypto cycle. And most of the time, the last 2 cycles at least, we saw a short-term dump into the inauguration, which is exactly like we've just had. And then soon after, just a couple of days after the inauguration, is where that up-only phase did commence. So don't give up hope just yet. Hold on just a little bit longer. That's my words of encouragement. You know, you might feel beaten. You might feel over the crypto markets. It's been a long, frustrating ride, but my words of wisdom to you would be just hold on a little bit longer, just a couple more weeks. I would say, you know, give it at least 6 more weeks. I'm sure all of you can give at least 6 more weeks of your attention to see what happens, right? I think that leading into the end of March, we spoke a lot about the seasonality yesterday and the likelihood that Q1 does still end very, very positive, right? Every single cycle we see the at least in this part of the cycle. So you have to look at it relatively to what point of the cycle you're in. The 4th year, which is your post-halving year, as well as your election year or inauguration year, right? When that comes into play, that is usually the year where you see price sweep the yearly open, drop below the yearly open, reclaim the yearly open, and then rally towards the upside. So you kind of get like a double trap, a little bit of a pump in the start of January, a dump, and then you reclaim the yearly open, and then it moves up for the rest of that quarter. So that's what we're looking at, right? Here is your ETH BTC chart, just zooming in, just to give you a little bit more of a precise level. Well, you are getting a bit of a reaction. So people are still trading this. They're still looking at this over here. And let's see if the weekly can start to close a little bit higher on the ETH BTC chart. That could be your first signs of, you know, a little bit of a high-low formation. If it closes down here on a closing basis, yes, that would be lower. But the last couple of weeks have somehow narrowly managed to hold on as higher candle closes. Also, you had this big inefficiency, and now that has officially been filled, retracing beyond 50% of that wick. That is one good sign. So give it a bit of time. Let's see if that can start to reverse. We're looking at the Bitcoin dominance here as well, still attempting to gain acceptance below the mid-range. That mid-range coming in at 58.25%, right? So we want to see that level reject. We want to see this drop towards the downside. Only time will tell. This has been a very, very choppy environment over there. If we look at the others chart, we're getting a really, really nice reaction off of this. It will start to look increasingly like a major low has been put in at this key level. If we can start to see these candles getting back above 392 billion, get above 392 billion, you know, that's going to start to look good as a higher low. And then you can start to target the next high. And once you breach that high, that's where you probably move into price discovery, right? You've got your beautiful, beautiful cup and handle formation, which in this cycle, these cup and handles have been absolutely spot on. Really, really good. Big cup and handle formation. Perfect throw back into the neckline over there. So back testing that neckline, and you're looking for the next move up, right? So you're looking for a move up at least to 662 billion. What I like to see as well, just touching base on this again, we mentioned it yesterday, was the importance and significance of back testing into that break of structure level. And now we're starting to put in those wicks, right? Directly into that line, showing the respect for that 0.5 level and looking to hold that zone. So very, very important. Others against Bitcoin, we're also waiting for that to do the same thing, but at least total 3 against Bitcoin is your first and early lead to show those signs of reversals. If we look at the daily exchange volume, it is kind of teetering on potentially turning back towards the downside theoretically over the last at least 2 months. This is lower lows and lower highs, so do be aware of that, be cautious of that. But if we can just see this tick on a little bit further up, we should start to see the reversal of that trend, and that will most likely align up with what we're seeing in the crypto markets. We spoke about the significance and the importance of the volume on this next move up, and we'll touch on the volume in a bit. In terms of the volume profile, we are reclaiming some key levels, which is one good sign, right? Momentum oscillators have reset. Volatility is getting lower and lower, right? So we've covered this almost every day, but I'm just showcasing it to you for when it does start to leave the station. Look at that. It's getting lower and lower, right? That volatility is continuing to remain at the zero line, and that's why you're printing more and more of these blue vertical lines running down the screen. The more of these you print, the bigger the next move will be when you eventually do start to see this tick towards the upside. This is simply measured by price expanding. When price does start to expand, remember it's direction neutral. It can move up, it can move down, but the point is it's telling you volatility is coming, right? This is theoretically a very, very low volatility environment because we've just moved sideways, right? And that's the way the market works. You move up, then you move sideways, reaccumulate, and then you get ready for the next move up. Now, I do firmly believe that this next move up is going to be very, very significant. And, I just want to warn you that I think that you should not get too excited when you do start to trade into this $120,000 to $130,000 level, which I believe on the next volatility expansion from here with the stochastic RSI turning towards the upside, that will be the major profit-taking zone. I absolutely will be taking profit into this zone over here, especially if we do start to see, these stochastic RSIs trending towards the upside, while at the same time, if you look at this like that, we start to print that very, very high volatility. So once this expands, starts to increase towards the upside, if it does start to get into, that 90 to 100 percentile level, like we did previously, which is where we put in this local top, that becomes a major profit-taking area. That I'm just trying to forewarn you way ahead of time so that you do know what is possibly coming next, right? Now, here's our volume, right? We can see a little bit of volume coming into the market. I would love to see a lot more volume, but it's still okay, right? It's not too bad. It's not a warning sign, I should say. Remember, you are going to be coming into this now resistance level. So there it is. That's a resistance level. The good news is that it is a volume backed. It's not as high as I would love, but it is volume backed, and you are currently holding above that volume profile, which is coming in right now. The main point of control for this, at least portion of the trading range, is 98,358, right? So you want to see continued sustained price action holding above that. If we can do that at least successfully, expect there'll be a bit of chop, right? You might get a couple of pullbacks, but if you can do that successfully, this creates a nice foundation to get price to start to move higher and challenge that $108,000 level, right? So keep an eye out on that. That is something important to be looking at over there. That is the volume. We're holding above it. That's a good thing. We need to break the downsloping trend line. That's the next challenge ahead. And do we break it with volume? Let me know in the comments, right? I want to know in the poll section. You can vote over there. I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you trust the pump, right? Do you think it's a fake out, or is this going to be a real breakout? We can't consider it to be a breakout yet because at least on Bitcoin, we haven't cleared that level as of yet, right? So we've come directly into it. We are above the yellow line. The yellow line over here is your RSI, which means you're above the pivot level. RSI is trending up. And the good news is that we have support below. And if you are long and strong, you have a very simple, easy invalidation. Here's your invalidation, pretty much below yesterday's low, right? If you start to break below yesterday's low, that essentially engulfs that candle. Where did we last see the engulfing of a candle that led into a massive drawdown? Well, of course, it was over here, right? Everything was looking really, really good. Let's highlight it. Everything was moving up nicely. We had a big, beautiful move towards the upside. What happened the very next day? Complete bearish engulfing candle. And then we started to look for further downside. We did speak about that, right? Targeting down towards that 84 85K level as the first major area of support. Now, this is the way that technical analysis works, right? The plan does sometimes begin to change based on new information. Everything was looking mega bearish. You then rejected from your key moving averages, and this started to look like the capitulation candle that at minimum will drop you down into $85,000. But of course, waiting for the daily candle close, you can see intraday, there was a lot of bullish price action, pulling price action back towards the upside, creating that beautiful, beautiful reversal looking candle, which is what we currently have present. And now we've persisted with strong days. So don't be surprised if you do see another strong day that does actually break you through this level. That is the confirmed breakout if you can close a daily candle above the downsloping trend line, right? That becomes your confirmation. And even better so, what you need to see is a break above the previous highs, which would be above 102,276. Now, I do want to warn you as well that there is this massive inefficiency which is coming in at the 50% level. So, of course, remember the market moves structurally in the form of high highs and high lows. So if you do break above these levels on the dailies and you start to close above here, well, great. You have just broken the downward structure where you had a high and then over there you put in a lower high. And now for the first time, you would have broken that structure, putting in a higher high. What does that mean you look for next? Well, I think the answer is pretty clear. The next thing you look for is a higher low, right? This becomes your low. And now you're looking for somewhere within this region. We'll clean this up a little bit for you. Somewhere within this region, there should be a throwback, right? We'll reevaluate closer to the time, but you should then get some sort of a throwback. Maybe it comes into the trend line over here. And that's where you print your higher low, right? What I like about that is those EMAs, the 9 and 18, which have a bullish cross right now, will also be trending towards the upside. And then that becomes your safe buy. But if it gets a little bit scary, do open up the possibilities that you could still fill some of this inefficiency, right? 91,784. So a lot of moving parts. This is the way trading works, especially when you are, on the verge of transitioning from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? So if you're on the verge of transitioning from what was previously a downtrend to an uptrend, this creates multiple different scenarios. That's what trading is, right? Trading is mapping out the various different scenarios and then executing the best possible plan with the highest possibility or probability of succeeding. And if any of this confuses you, I highly, highly recommend that you just go through to the link in the description below over here, scroll through and click on that one. That says Whale School. Learn how to trade like a whale in just 10 days. Guys, it's absolutely free. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's everything that I've learned from A to Z that's taken me to the point that I'm at now. And I expand on that even further in the live workshops, right? By signing up, you're going to get access to 4 live workshops where we'll sit and elaborate on the lessons and give you real life examples to the current market conditions to show you how I actually utilize all this information. So make sure that you join. It's free because it's covered by these at least wonderful sponsors listed below. Thank you so much to the sponsors. You have 13 days left to go. Yesterday we had 68% to capacity. Right now, I think we were at last night 73% after yesterday's show full, right? 73% full. We can only take a certain number of people, so please use the link below, sign up while you still can do it right now. You can pause the video and then continue after this. Anyway, let's continue. So we've covered that. We've covered the various different possibilities. Let's see, we'll gauge what happens with today's candle close. Here is your 4-hour time frame chart over here. Good news is you're getting the cross back up between the 50 and the 200. Now, remember, the EMAs are pretty useless when it comes to a ranging market. And the truth is that markets are mostly just ranging, right? Ranging, they're chopping about. They spend 70 to 80% of the time caught within a trading range and about 20 to 30% of the time where you have those fun times where everything is just going up and trending, right? So in the ranging times, it's pretty useless. But you need to know how to use this with context, right? The context would be that if we can start to break structure and create a higher high over here, and we can challenge the range highs, the significance is at that point, we'll be doing that with a golden cross present, which gives additional support that if you do leave the top side of the trading range, well, we may just be getting ready for our next move up to $120,000 to $130,000, right? That is my next target off of this breakout. So once we leave $108,000, I expect a rapid move up to about $120,000, right? So that is the key level. That's the key level over there. Look, here's your current price action on the 4-hour time frame. you have a very, very, very small on a 4-hour time frame, little FVG, little fair value gap over here. So I guess for anyone that has missed out, keep your eyes on this. Let's put in, there it is. Let's go FVG. There it is. That's the level that you're looking for. So pullbacks, I guess I saw some of you said, buy now or wait, right? Buy now or wait. I would wait. I wouldn't buy directly into resistance. I would either rather wait for confirmation of a proper breakout, and you have to curtail your FOMO emotions in that type of a move if you have no exposure, but then wait for the throwback wherever that may come. Structurally, it's safer and better to be buying the next high low as opposed to chasing a pump. So if I weren't in the market, I'd probably wait. I like this little fair value gap over here. Maybe set a couple of bids into that $98,000 level. If you're lucky enough, you get a little scam wick that runs into there, capture that liquidity and run it through, right? That would be the play on Bitcoin, right? Now, you use your favorite altcoin in relation to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin did that, ask yourself, what would your favorite altcoin do? It may happen at a later stage as these EMAs go up. You might do this. You might give a little bit of a fake out, slam it back down into this range over here, capture the liquidity, meet up with the EMAs and still hit that level. But first, after eliciting a whole lot of FOMO on a breakout over here, right? Why? Well, also, if we look just slightly overhead, we do have that liquidity, right? 101,319. So 101,319. Let's actually put a label in and show you exactly where that is on the price chart over here. 101,319. There we go. Close enough. That's going to be the level, right? That's going to be the level. That is where your liquidity resides. So cleaning this chart up a little bit, let's just clean that up over there. You can see how very easily you might get that kind of a spike up, right? Watch for that spike. Maybe you spike up, hit the liquidity, throw back, shaking the breakout buyers, the people that are buying this breakout of the downtrend, shaking them quickly out of the position, putting them immediately underwater for price to only hit that 97.9 and then reset, and off it goes to the races. So there it is. That's what we're looking at over there. And we'll remove these lines. That is more or less what I think could possibly happen, right? So look for something like that. Okay, let's continue. That is your 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin. We've shown you the liquidity as well. There is liquidity on the upside in the form of stop losses. These are, of course, traders that have now, following this move down, who shorted this, have trailed their stop loss. So they're probably going to be getting close to being stopped out. If you do want to trade, right, by the way, if you're looking for a place to trade and you want a non-KYC place, I can recommend 𝗬𝗥𝗢𝗓. Remember that 𝗬𝗥𝗢𝗓 is also currently taking registrations where you can sign up for their big trading competition over here, the Crypto Banter trading competition. You can see trade more than 2 billion to unlock 10 ETH, right? So I know that sounds impossible, but if you trade more than $2 billion worth of volume, you'll get 10 ETH. It sounds impossible, but when you're using leverage, it adds up very, very quickly, right? Trade in, trade out. I probably trade, probably billions worth of volume over time. And there's a competition timeline. You can read all about it below. Everything is listed below. Even if you don't trade more than 2 billion, you can see over here, you still will get your share, right? You can still get your share of prizes depending on where you rank, right? So $50,000 worth of volume, very, very easy. There is your reward, right? 5 ETH times 1. Okay, so that is on 𝗬𝗥𝗢𝗓. There's a link in the description below. Let's have a look at some of the other coins over here. I did add to my portfolio. I took a new trade. I'll show it to you as well in today's show, so stay tuned until the end. Also, if you appreciate the show, guys, smash the like button. It helps to get the algorithm going. Let's get into it. Right. Solana daily downtrend, same as Bitcoin, looks very, very similar. We had a really beautiful move up. Good news is you've reclaimed the yearly open. This is exactly what we were planning for, given the information from this candle that we have over here. Look, that is an inefficiency candle. You could theoretically come back. Always remember that. But I would give this a very low probability. The same is true for Bitcoin. I give it a relatively low probability that suddenly, you'll come all the way down and fill these levels up. And if you do, I still think that you'll probably break out before doing that. So all eyes on some of these top layer ones, which are starting to move, especially if we do see the Fed at least buying back assets, and we see that pivot, and we see the altcoin season actually begin, right? Remember, what are some of our metrics that we're looking at? ETH BTC, this typically runs for the final year of the bull run. And I think that most of us can agree cyclically, we're in the final year, right? We are in the final year. So it should be any moment before this starts to rally. And every cycle, everyone says this time is different. But very rarely is this time different, at least in my experience, right? It's not always one for one exactly the same, but it rhymes very, very similarly, right? Very similarly. So downsloping trend line over there, basically it means that Solana needs to break this on the daily to break structure, right? It needs to get above $218 to get into a strong phase. And this is also why I would say that for the most part, it's very unlikely that, you know, everything is just going to run to the moon and you're going to miss it. You're going to completely miss out. For those of you out there who are not aggressive traders, you missed the conservative, you're the old granny down the road, right? You just simply want a safe entry, and there's nothing wrong with that. They probably make more money than the aggressive traders. You would simply want to wait for a candle close above there, right? If you get the candle close above there, breaking that downtrend on Solana, just simply wait, right? It's not going to do this. It very rarely, if ever, does that. It can happen, but it's very, very rare. What's most likely to happen is the break of structure and then some sort of a throwback, meaning you'll get in probably at the same levels where price currently is at, but you'll have much higher confluence because you have a low to work with, and then you buy the higher low and you have a higher high, and that's a reversal of the trend, right? So that's what you want to have a look for. Here you have 𝗬𝗎. Okay, 𝗬𝗎 is still a strange one. I think it's worth noting that, you know, you are putting in some of these lower high structures, right? You're putting in lower high structure over here. So it's one to watch for, right? It's one to watch for. You don't want to continue this downtrend over here. You do need to see this start to reverse. And the first place that it does that is, of course, if you do see this getting back above, let's raise that a little bit, $5.12, right? Then you can start to say that, okay, maybe this is actually a high low for 𝗬𝗎. Otherwise, if 𝗬𝗎 does break that all down, we've spoken about it, although many are super bullish and it's super hyped at the moment on 𝗬𝗎, 294, right? Now, another one that I want to talk about, which is the one that I recently purchased pretty much right now, today at current levels. I've started to scale into position. I'm allocating between about 3 and 5% of my total portfolio to this. It is hype, right? You know, I saw how this coin moved previously when it came off the $4 lows, which this chart doesn't present because they don't have enough price history. This is the one taken from here. It is KuCoin. But remember, yesterday Rand did an entire show on this. I do think it's worth watching. You know, he's not really someone I would fade fundamentally when it comes to fundamental picks. And the fact that it's reclaiming the yearly open, it's broken that downsloping structure with 2 candle closes above, and now you're opening the 3rd candle, right? If you get the 3rd full candle, so what I mean by this, you need 3 full candles. Then you have full confirmation. 3. This is not a full candle, right? Because this candle opened below the trend line but closed above. Theoretically, then this is candle 1, 2, and 3. That is a fully confirmed breakout, also above the yearly open. And then I think this will start to look really, really good for possible continuation. Similar to the rest of the coins, though, of course, you need to get back above $25 to really show, you know, safety in the analysis of this moving towards the upside. And of course, it may do something like this, right? You might break up, you might come down and actually get a lower entry, high low. So there's your low, there's your high low. Hence, I'm slowly starting to scale into the position. I do want to have at least some sort of allocation to hype. So I've gone with about 3 to 5% of my portfolio. If you do want to take this trade as well, if you watched Rand's show yesterday, because this is, you know, a decentralized exchange with a centralized exchange type of model, look and feel, centralized exchange, look and feel. So it feels like you're trading on Bybit or BitGet or Binance, wherever you may trade, but it's decentralized, right? Because of that, it makes it difficult to find exchanges that will list it. So there are a couple of exchanges, one of which is BitGet, right? So if you do want to purchase this, you can purchase it on BitGet. There is a link below that will qualify you to a sign-up bonus. So there it is. If you go there, they're giving you 10%, right? BitGet 10% off of your spot and futures trading fees if you use this particular link. And on top of that, I think you get a sign-up bonus depending on how much you deposit, right? These are nice bonuses. This is 10% cash back It adds up over time. You save a lot of money. And I think this is for life, right? I think the 10% off that you're getting is for life. So click on the link over there. If you do want to sign up, you can buy Hype. That's where I bought Hype. All right. The other one that I added to the portfolio as well, and I'm looking at the same sort of allocation. This is going to be between about 2 and 5% as well of my total portfolio that I'm allocating into it. And where's the chart? It is Sonic, right? Sonic. So on this chart, it's going to look absolutely horrendous because remember, Sonic just launched. So it was previously Phantom, now Sonic. 8th of January, so it looks like it's down only, right? You have to look at the old Phantom chart, but the exchanges delisted all of them, so I can't find a perfect Phantom chart. Maybe this one over here. Are they trading at the same price, right? This is 81. See, they're not trading at the same price, so we have to look at Sonic. So all that I have to work with based on this chart over here is the following, right? We have the yearly open, it's all the way at the top over there, but we have the following over here. We have, of course, also down sloping trend line over here that has officially been broken. Always horizontals are going to be more significant, and I guess this becomes your major resistance, right? This becomes the major resistance on a 4-hour time frame. If you can start to break this, that will start to look good, right? So that's what you want to get above, and ultimately it is putting in the low time frames couple of high lows. The expectation would be that this would just move just like the rest of the market, which means if we're looking at higher prices on Bitcoin, it's probably worth starting to scale into this trade. So low, high, low, looking for the break above this, and then we can start to trade it towards the top of the trading range. I will have a look if there is, some of you say it's the wrong Sonic. Let me know if this is the wrong Sonic, which is the Sonic that I should be charting. Let's quickly go through to CoinGecko. Okay, let's quickly have a look over here. So Sonic, let's type that in again. Sonic, let's double check. I am reading the comments, so you guys can always let me know. Sonic, there we go. Previous Phantom, 82 cents. Okay, you are correct. This is the incorrect one. Let's delete that. Let's see if they have anything that I can click on over here that will take me to the correct one on TradingView specifically. So that is all that we have to work with. I didn't buy the wrong one, just so you guys know. I apologize. I may have charted the wrong one, but I didn't buy the wrong one because I double checked on exchange. Okay, Sonic USDT. Let's see, Sonic. Is it Sonic SVM? Previous Phantom. Is it this one? Let's just double check. That is, it should be 82 cents. Let's throw that one on. Let's throw this one on. Let's just chuck a couple of them on, and then we're going to check over here. So these are all 72 cents. All 70. You guys say DEX tools. Okay. Let's go to Sonic on DEX tools. Sonic. It should be this one, right? Sonic on DEX tools. Let's click on this. What is the price over here? Okay, 71 cents. Is there not a contract address that we can just take from you? Otherwise, we're going to revisit this because I don't want to waste too much time on Sonic. We can also look at this. I mean, you can just look at the chart over here. There's very, very little history, right? We just have a couple of days worth of history. It is slowly starting to uptrend. Okay, SUSDT. Let's try that again. SUSDT. Let's put it in here on DEX tools, like you guys said. SUSDT. That is not the right one. Let's try. This is the last attempt that we're going for over here. SUSDT. This one. Okay. Okay. So it's just SUDT. Okay. This one is 82 cents. So let's delete those. That is correct. And remove. Okay, so there we go. Well, according to this one, it's looking even better because at least it's reclaimed some of the key levels. We don't have much to work with. As I mentioned, we don't have too much to work with. Let me know in the comments, would this still be trading? Is this trading though? 81112. Let's go on the minute chart or 5-minute chart. This is not trading anymore, right? You can't chart the old one. Okay, that's a long spiel over here on Phantom. Point is fundamentally, I'm in on Phantom. I'm getting or Sonic. Okay, Rune. How's Rune doing? Let's have a look. Going into the chart request, guys. We'll go to Rune. Let's see, Rune. There it is. Okay, right at the bottom of the range lows. This one has been absolutely annihilated. Of course, it is hitting a key level over here. At the very, very least, if this is treated as a range and it respects this level, you could be looking at about 115% move up just to get to the top side of the trading range. All right, let's switch charts over here. We're going to Casper. There is a request on Casper. Up nicely, 7% today. Really, really good. Great news, reclaiming the 14 cents region. That is a significant zone because that is your mid-range, right? Now, I have seen the way that Casper trades. Sometimes it is, it doesn't always come perfectly to the horizontals. I've seen a couple of times where it's front run these levels. So maybe this time is no different. If that is it and it's moved up, well, we already previously had about a 5% allocation to Casper. I'm continuing to hold this. I do firmly believe as soon as you gain acceptance above 18.4, right, above the top side of the trading range over here, these are your extensions. Because it's been in this trading range for such a long period of time, we have perfect projections in terms of the fib extensions, and your 100% levels coming in at 26, and then your 1.618, which would be a high probability zone, would be 36, right? 36 cents. So, I mean, from there to there, that's 151% move. Who knows how crazy the bull market goes? If it does actually go absolutely berserk, like the price cycles, 380% move is still a possibility, all the way to the 3.618, right? All right. Not sure, says Gay Chain. Gay for TA. I don't know about Gay Chain. I'm not here to be cancelled, so I'll probably leave that one out today. But if it comes up tomorrow, maybe we'll bring it up. All right. What else have we got, guys? Let me know in the comments over there. Let's see. Render. Yes, let's have a look at Render. How is Render doing? Okay, Render USDT. Here it is. All right. So that is Render, still range bound, threw back all the way to the bottom of the trading range, respected that 620 level. I'm more interested in trying to catch these ones that are already starting their trends. But I do have an allocation to Render. I'm continuing to hold it. It's one of the few coins that I didn't cut too many yet, but I'm planning on the next move up to cut a lot of positions. Just watch the show every single day. If you do want to be updated on that, I always will update you. And then remember, of course, in Whale Room is where I drop the live day-to-day actual trades that I'm taking and swaps and things that I'm making within my portfolio. That's the best place to watch. Render, I'm still holding. It looks okay. Bottom of the trading range, similar to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts to break out and approach $108,000, expect that Render should move to the top of the range high. And you can see the difference in price, right? For Render to get to range high, 60% move over there. For Bitcoin to get, of course, to its highs is only like a 10% move, right? So just over 8%, around an 8% move. So there is always, if you get the direction correct and your bias is correct on where price is going to go up or down, then of course the bet becomes easy, right? Altcoins are always going to move quicker towards the upside and give you much higher return on investment. All right, Injective. Yeah, let's have a look at Injective. Where's our Injective chart? There it is. Okay, Injective still hovering about over here. Almost tagged the range low over there. Look, still got a lot of work to do to break these levels. This is a sloppy chart, just chopping about over here. If it gets above $26, you can say, well, the low is definitely in. Then you can start to look to allocate into dips below 24, and then you target all the way up to the top of the trading range, which is 31. If you get above that 31, then it plays out, right? But I don't know if you guys remember this. I did speak about this. I spoke about the failed breakouts, right? The lackluster was actually the word that I used. The lackluster breakouts of these falling wedges. And I said, well, what you're typically seeing is these, it starts off looking like it's going to be a perfect breakout from a falling wedge. Remember, if you have the falling wedge, there it is. Usually you would expect this kind of a breakout, right? You expect price to do this. You expect the move to happen very, very quick. And I told you, but that's not happening. What we're seeing is instead a much slower sort of a move. And that ultimately is turning out to be these big cup and handles. So this is probably still what you're going to see. And I specifically labeled this on Injective, right? You're looking at something like that. You're looking at this rounded bottom, which means slowly but surely, yes, this should just continue to grind up, right? You should see this slow and steady grind. That becomes your cup. And then eventually you're going to have a pullback, put in the handle, and then you run it up for the rest of the cycle, right? Okay, cool. So we got that. Let's have a look at Arweave. Arweave was looking absolutely dismal. Has it improved, right? Is there any improvement in Arweave? I must say, I cheated out. I capitulated on Arweave. I moved that position into AI agents. The people in Whale Room know all about it because I already updated you there. Of course, 100%, I could be wrong, right? This could be exactly what I've described on injective, right? You may just be seeing this, long-winded, rounded bottom that's occurring over here from also a boring, failed, at least falling wedge, right? You may be seeing something like that. So it could start to move over here. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with my decision because if AI agents, if this pumps up like this, AI agents should anyway go up quicker. So that is 𝗲𝗓𝗓. You definitely want to hold this as a double bottom. To answer your question, you definitely want to hold that as a double bottom. So you do not want to breach that low from $12.16, right? You need to hold that low. That's super, super important. All right. Let's see. What else, guys? Knight says he also tossed 𝗲𝗓𝗓 out, right? You got to cut your losers and let your winners run, right? Keep those winners and cut the losers. That's the name of the game for trading. Not here to get emotional about the tokens. Part of the reason that I started to scale out of Bitcoin when it was around $100,000 and instead moved deeper into altcoins was because I can get emotional about Bitcoin. I am somebody that loves Bitcoin and I believe in Bitcoin and I don't want to hold on to those feelings. So it's better for me to cut it now in a bull market and move into something else that later on I'll be able to cut easier, if that makes sense, right? When you really believe in something like Bitcoin and Bitcoin's trading now at 130K, 140K, it becomes very, very difficult to cut that position. That's personally how I feel. So that's one of the little psychological tricks that I utilize. I'll rather move from Bitcoin into something else, even if it's slowly, small over time, like selling small amounts of Bitcoin into something else towards the end of the cycle. That makes it a much easier switch and psychological decision for me to simply just cut the altcoins that I moved into when the cycle is about to end, right? Whereas Bitcoin, you're like, oh, it's better than fiat, this, that, better than gold, life-changing, don't want to sell it. But ultimately, this is how you make money, right? You have to buy at a certain point, and then after a sustainable and long-term rally, you need to exit, right? You exit the position and then go fully back into Bitcoin at the cycle lows, right? So we'll wait for that. The bottom of the bear market will be fully back. All right. By the way, also, I just want to mention let's go on to Goku because I see there's some questions around that. Goku's still looking good, right? Let's see. Goku, where are you, sir? Goku's still looking good. Actually up 28.4% today. Amazing. So keeps being one of the first to rebound. I really don't think you guys should fade this. I really don't think you should fade this. I think it's one to watch. This is a super strong community through all of these drops. Think of what some of the other meme coins have done, right? 80-90% drops. What has Goku done? It's just range, right? It's just maintained this range. This is super powerful. I think this one's going to do super well. And for those of you out there who want to trade meme coins like an absolute beast, if you are a meme coin trader, this is something that you dabble in on a day-to-day basis. I definitely can recommend this site, 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓. This is how we actually took the last trade that we had over here. So, of course, you can set up all of these different features on here in terms of following other people on Telegram. It immediately buys when they drop their contract address in the Telegram for the groups. It will buy on the second. If you look over here at the order book, it's showing here 16 seconds ago, right? Was the last buy 18 seconds ago. This is per the second feedback. It's absolutely incredible in terms of its speed. You can build your own lists over here. Remember, you have, of course, your wallets that you connect. This is decentralized. That's the main purpose of 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 is you have custody of your coins, right? You have to create, your own little pool when it comes to, let's just see over here on the wallet, your own little slot. So remember, this was the last trade that we took. We put in like $100 into Goku. It's now worth 372. That was the trade that we took. So you create your own slot, right? When you create a slot, it's a smart contract that essentially mints a space for your coins to be held so that the platform or exchange cannot rug you like on a lot of the other platforms, right? So if you do want access to that, use this link below. It will take you there, 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓. Don't Google it because as soon as you connect your wallet to a Google site that's copying 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, you will be rugged, right? You will be rugged. Click that link. That link is safe. All right. What else? What else do we have, guys? Whale School. Remember, you guys know it. Whale School is there. I think let's close it off over there. Thank you so much all for joining. Appreciate each and every one of you. We will catch up again tomorrow. Let's see what the daily close looks like. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you on tomorrow's show. Cheers for now.